talk about drama today in Rezolve AI. This is a good one, okay? So, first and foremost, the company put out a press report today that basically clarified that there was no dilution in one of the prior SEC reports or pressers that came out, that Wall Street thought there was some dilution there. The big story of the day today, though, is the short report by Fuzzy Panda. What a name. In this video, we will look at that, go over my thoughts on that, what the validity is of this. And Rezolve did come out, and obviously shortly thereafter, like half an hour after the report came out, disputed that, said it was false, and basically that Fuzzy Panda was just trying to make money by shorting the company. So what's going on? What do you need to know? We'll get into it in today's video. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I will share my position as well. Did I sell today? Answer is no. But did I buy today? We'll get into that in a few. Hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Check out that link down below in the description of today's episode if you want to come join the trading community. But with that said, let's get started. Okay, so let's start with the Fuzzy Panda short report on AI. Fuzzy Panda on X says, an AI SPAC that came public with no AI revenue from a promotional CEO, Dan Wagner, the man behind one of the UK's largest tech failures. It failed due to false partnerships and fake customers. Guess what we found at Rezolve? Deja vu. Now, a bit misleading because the company did have 100 million in ARR before they went public, but they were forced to sell off that side of the business to go public, okay? Because it was all in China, and, the SEC didn't like that. Now, it says, at Rezolve, Wagner paid his personal shell company $93.9 million in shares in the past 2 years, but 2024 revenue was only $190,000, and it came from ticket sales, fees for Spain's La Liga soccer games, not AI. It said Wagner also had Rezolve acquire a startup called Blue Dot. Blue Dot is not an AI company. It's a geofencing startup, but Blue Dot is a related party owned by Dan. So there's a lot of these accusations that go right back to Dan. It says an undisclosed lawsuit shows that Dan is trying to give Rezolve investors the reverse Borat. Dan is trying to move hundreds of millions in cash and BTC from the USA to Kazakhstan. Good luck recovering those funds in bankruptcy proceedings. It says, onto the supposed AI tech, former employees told us there wasn't any. Formers told us it was just a ChatGPT wrapper. Hidden disclosure also says it's a ChatGPT wrapper. Even the tech indicates a ChatGPT wrapper. VCs told us an AI company that's just a wrapper is worthless. Rezolve claims ARR will grow through Microsoft and Google partnerships. They are paying for AI friends without benefits. Reality is Rezolve promised to pay tech giants $157 million. Main benefit has been inclusion in the app stores. 1 year later, Rezolve's product has 0 reviews. Management claims Rezolve will have 100 million in ARR this year. That's BS. The only AI revenue comes from acquiring failed no-mo AI startups. The company's future declining revenue, shrinking gross margins, and going concern notices. Okay. It says Rezolve never disclosed its Visense acquisition, but immediately afterwards, Rezolve started PRing Visense customer base studies, pretending it had new customers. Singapore filings show Visense revenue was declining. Visense was acquired at 10x DRR, declining reoccurring revenue. You can see revenue down to about 4.6 million. Last 2023 was at about 6.8 million. Rezolve paid 55 million for group buys business. Revenue about $19 million. Okay. It says Wagner says Rezolve solved the hallucination problem that no AI company has been able to. But they asked the brain power large language model if they hallucinate. And it says, even though we try hard to prevent these errors, they can still happen. Kind of what you'd expect to see in, AI models say, right? It says, again, that's about hallucinations. Former employees told us faking name brand customers continued at Brainpower at Rezolve. Rezolve highlights Dunkin' Donuts as a key customer. Former employees told us that Dunkin' Donuts test was limited to 2 restaurants and didn't roll out after that. Rezolve probably served like 100 people. Again, there's no way to confirm that. It says Rezolve touts their $9.8 million Liverpool, Mexico contract like it's new, but it really came from group buy before Rezolve acquired them and is likely overstated by 70%. Group buy generated $5.7 million in sales from Mexico in 2024 and have been partnered with Liverpool since 2021. Okay, again, I'm going to share my thoughts in just a moment, but it says here, we asked a former employee if we should invest in Rezolve stock. They told us no, I would not. I'd probably short them. That's just funny to put in a short report, like a former employee would know. That's funny. So we asked Rezolve's AI if we should short Rezolve. It told us, yes, Rezolve is a good short candidate due to substantial losses and market hype. Again, that's what a large language model is going to tell you. Fuzzy Panda says, no need to believe us. Rezolve management raised $200 million by selling stock last week. Does the company raise a lot of money right before they beat earnings? Nope. It signals a huge whiff coming. Again, I disagree with that. I think I don't think any institutional investors were going to give Rezolve $200 million unless they knew that earnings were going to be good, right? There's the other side of that. Who would have to be the stupid institution to give Rezolve $200 million right before a big earnings catastrophe? Right? Doesn't that make sense? Nobody in their right mind would do that. Okay. It says Rezolve also registered 187 million shares of stock for resale by insiders. We think there will be intense selling pressure once the registration statement goes effective. Management says, don't worry, it won't cause more dilution. It's not about dilution. It's about selling. Again, Rezolve put out a press report on this today that kind of clears it up. So this is the short report in its essence. They also go on to talk about, Power Technologies a little bit more and why that, company went bankrupt. Okay. Now, Rezolve commented back to this short report, and I want to get into that in just a second. But first, earlier in the day today, before the short report came out, Rezolve put out a press release that says Rezolve AI clarifies recent SEC filing and reaffirms strategic growth initiatives. It says no dilution in recent F3 filing. On September 25th, Rezolve filed a Form F3 registration statement with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission to re-register for resale certain shares that had previously been registered for resale on Form F1, a more administratively burdensome form for the company. The registered shares were already outstanding shares held by investors. No new shares were issued in connection with the Form F3, and the Form F3 is not an indication of immediate selling activity by these shareholders. This filing is an administrative requirement to allow prior investors flexibility and to ease the administrative cost of maintaining the registration statements imposed on the company. And it does not create dilution for existing Rezolve shareholders. So again, they're just clarifying that. It says truly strategic partnerships with Microsoft and Rezolve. Rezolve reaffirmed that its partnerships with Microsoft and Google go far beyond marketplace listings, Senior executives Nick Parker of Microsoft and Tara Brady of Google have publicly described Rezolve as a strategic partner in driving the future of retail AI. They link the two videos here. It says, these partnerships involve joint go-to-market commitments, deep technical integration, and coordinated customer engagements across global retail and enterprise sectors. Okay. It says Rezolve expects to announce its first half 2025 financial results on October 1st, 2025. Management expects to provide an update on revenue growth, enterprise adoption, and progress against the company's strategic initiatives. They say Rezolve remains focused on executing its growth strategy with a strong balance sheet, expanding enterprise adoption, and a differentiated AI commerce platform that solves real-world challenges for customers and partners. And it's headlined here, positioned for sustained growth. So, okay, that's the one side of this. Okay, that's the presser that came out before Rezolve basically rebuked Fuzzy Panda's report. Now, this is what Rezolve says about the Fuzzy Panda report. It says here, Rezolve AI rejects Fuzzy Panda's misleading report, exposes self-serving attempt to drive misinformation and profit from short positions. It says, Rezolve categorically rejects the misleading and inaccurate allegations contained in the report. The publication selectively misrepresents facts, recycles outdated information, and disregards our audited financials, SEC filings, and the reality of our operations. It says a report driven by self-interest, not truth. And you guys have to understand, right? What these short firms do, they're not doing it to protect you, right? They go out, they short the stock, they put out a report. 9 times out of 10, after the first day where it goes down 10-ish%, Fuzzy Panda sells out and they're like, screw everyone, like we made our money, right? It's not like a Robin Hood kind of situation, right? Like you stealing from the rich, right? It's a very much self-driven interest, okay? Now it says Fuzzy Panda openly discusses that it holds a short position in Rezolve stock. Its business model is to issue sensationalized research that depresses share prices so it can profit from covering these short positions. This latest report is a clear example of that strategy built on mischaracterizations, inferences, and unfound claims designed to spook genuine investors. Dan Wagner says Fuzzy Panda's report is a self-serving attempt to inject misinformation into the market. Again, it is designed to spook genuine investors into selling so that short sellers can cover their positions and profit from aggregated rumors and inferences. We will not allow such tactics to distort the reality of our business. Our fundamentals are strong and our partnerships with Microsoft, Google, and Tether are real, and we remain focused on executing our growth strategy and creating long-term value for shareholders. Revenue and ARR integrity. It says Rezolve's revenue and ARR are fully reflected in audited financial statements and SEC disclosures. We stand firmly behind these numbers, which have been reviewed by independent auditors. Acquisitions and growth. They say all acquisitions have been properly disclosed and are part of a deliberate strategy to expand our AI commerce capabilities. To suggest otherwise is false and deliberately misleading. Technology leadership. Rezolve's proprietary BrainPower LLM and AI commerce platform are the result of years of research and development, with multiple patents granted and pending. Any assertion that Rezolve is merely a wrapper on another service is incorrect and ignores the scale of our differentiated infrastructure and customer deployments. It says governance and related party transactions. Rezolve has strong governance procedures overseen by an independent board and external advisors. All material transactions have been appropriately approved and disclosed in line with NASDAQ and SEC requirements. It says transparency and next steps. Rezolve remains focused on delivering value for customers and shareholders. We will continue to provide updates where appropriate and material, but do not intend to respond to every short seller allegation. Our priority remains long-term growth and shareholder value. We intend to address investor questions during our scheduled earnings announcement on October 1st. We may publish additional clarifications where appropriate to ensure accurate understanding of our business. And they say Rezolve will continue to make disclosures in line with regulatory requirements and best practices. So, yeah, they basically said, like, that's false, right? very much using outdated information, which, you could see that the whole short report was very outdated information. Now, as I said in the trading community, again, if you guys want to join, check that link out down below in the description of this video. But Rezolve was a very easy target for a short seller report. The stock has went up a lot. There's a lot of retail investors in the stock that tend to be more skittish, and we haven't gotten an earnings since April, right? Rezolve very much was a prime candidate for this kind of report, okay? And that's just the fact of the matter, since they haven't reported in so long. Well, on Wednesday, on the 1st, we're going to hear more. And, we're going to have a better sense of what's happening with the company. I expect we're going to have a guidance raise, anywhere from 150 to 200 million in ARR. As high as 300 million could be possible. We'll have to see. And that's the only thing that really matters. Now, I think after today's sell-off, you are set up in a much better risk-reward position heading into earnings. The more the stock falls into earnings, the lower the expectations get, and the easier it will be to surprise to the upside. So following today, and the last really couple of days, expectations are not that high. Okay. So, the same, it's going to be pretty easy, I think, for Rezolve to rally after Wednesday, right? Wednesday during the trading day. And that is my expectation. This report doesn't change anything. I think, again, it's very much outdated information with a stock that was vulnerable to a short report because it has not reported in so long. And not to mention Power Technologies that went, bankrupt back in 2016. Like it's easy to say, oh, the founder had a bankrupt company, so this one has the same risk. Two different ballparks, two different playing fields. Rezolve is a public company, so the same kind of thing can't really happen to Rezolve the same way it happened to Power Technologies. You don't just run out of money and go bankrupt one day if you're a public company. Like, that just doesn't happen. So, yeah, kind of a loose report. And then getting former employees' opinions on the stock, former employees saying you should short Rezolve, that just don't even sound right. Now, in institutional option activity today, we have a February 19th, 2025 $5 call for $114,000. And then we have an October 16th $250 call for $115,000. So, yeah, there is institutions are still buying long positions in the stock. Here on the day today, you have short sellers covering about 500,000 shares. You do have, again, 10% short interest of free float and about 12 million shares that are currently sold short. Now, in this portfolio, I have 11,000 shares of Rezolve. Average cost basis $2.80. Current market value about $59,000. Currently up $28,257, or about 92% still on the stock. So I have not sold any in that portfolio. In this portfolio, 13,000 shares. Average cost basis $2.82. Market value currently about $70,000. Total return $33,169. And I still own these 15 250 calls for February 20th. Current market value $4,650. Total return $3,075. So I have not changed any of my position. I have not sold out of any of my position. None of this matters at all. Like, short reports just don't mean anything. Okay. And it looks good that Rezolve came out so fast and rebutted the allegations that, Fuzzy Panda made. But I think the reality is Rezolve hasn't reported in a while. Like, they have, it was a very easy target, especially heading into earnings. And I think that's what this is about, right? People were already nervous about Rezolve. It's not hard to throw together one of these short reports, short the stock, cover right before earnings, make a quick, 10% profit. Easy, right? That's what this is about. I would highly doubt that Fuzzy Panda is going short and then planning to hold that into October 1st, into earnings. Like, no. So, hopefully you guys see this for what it is. I'm not a financial advisor. I am not a financial planner. Of course, you could lose money, come to your own conclusions, right? You get it. Make your own decision here. But I'm long. I'm going to stay long for now. We'll see what happens on October 1st. If I'm right and the stock goes up a bit, or if I'm wrong and the stock gets destroyed. Let me know your thoughts on October 1st down below in the comment section. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.